to the riches, cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music ease your soul, grab a spliff and start burning. Relax with us and take a trip to the heavens, and come and spend a day in the 757. Hydro, the vapes and blunts I smoke. That's exactly what I need.
What's up, everybody? After Show But Later, episode number 348. It's your boys D and Luis Cortez Jr. And if you actually saw my post on the Carl page, you might be thinking, why is Daniel dumber than Rich? And Luis and I kind of got into it already. We kind of already, started. So I'm sorry that you're going to have to get this secondhand. But over the weekend, my buddy calls me, right? My buddy Luis, and he's like, dude, you got to see the Odyssey or Odysseus or whatever the fuck he called it. I don't know, dog. I don't know. But anyway, he's like, dude, you got to take your daughter. This is like the greatest, whatever. Like it's a great movie or whatever. And he's like, they nailed it or whatever he said. And I was like, dog, I don't even know what the Odyssey is. What are you talking about? Right. And then, dog. So then we get into this conversation and we start talking about, he's like, dude, you know how they say you have to watch like The Godfather and you have to watch Goodfellas. There's just pieces of cinema that you need to watch. He's like, there's like pieces of literature that you need to watch or read. And I was like, I'm sorry, dog. Probably the Bible is the only piece of literature that I have to read. Right. So he's like, dude, no, like Huckleberry Finn. I'm like, duh. I already need some dorky ass shit like Huckleberry Finn, dog. I was like, so then I described to him, I'm like, Huckleberry Finn, dog. I don't know shit about Huckleberry Finn, right? I was like, there's the word berries in there, but I know he's not like a blueberry because I vaguely have heard the name throughout my life. So I'm like, Huckleberry Finn. I'm like, I picture him, dog, with like a satchel off to the side with like a old not rugged, but what is it, like when a dingy white t-shirt, like button up, running like a cross dog like this is how I picture the book, and it's like a drawing about Huckleberry Finn. That's all I know about Huckleberry Finn. So my buddy's like, dude, he's like, Daniel, he's like, you are very intelligent. He's like, how do you not know this type of shit, dog? All right. So he's all, it's like the Trojan Horse. It's like, and I go, like the commercials, Trojan man, like, dog, I don't know what he's talking about, right? And so at one point I hit him with hey, how do you know all this shit, right? And he was like, dude, I don't know. It's just shit you know. And then on Covino and Rich this last week, I had the funniest freaking, it wasn't even deja vu. It was deja vu through other people. So Covino and Spot are talking about like the same exact shit. And listen to what Rich says.
We would
So I'm not stupid.
because we paid attention in English.
So Rich asked him, how do you know about all this, right?
How do you know about Greek culture so much?
We would
So I'm not stupid.
Covino says, because I'm not stupid. Dog, that was like my same conversation with my buddy Luis. But I had said I'm dumber than Rich because, Doug, when they had asked, like they brought up again the Trojan Horse and all that, and Rich was like, yeah, they like hide shit in it or something, and I was like, I didn't even know that much. And Doug, and then like when they had brought up Achilles, they were like, you cut, or they said something, and Rich was like, yeah, they cut his Achilles or whatever, and my buddy was like, dude, he's like, why do you think they call it an Achilles heel? I'm like, I don't know, dog. You're telling me it's about like this Greek god or whatever. Like, I just thought that was the name of a body part. Like, I didn't know there was a story behind it. Like, do we have we have Achilles? Do we have elbow and shoulder? Right? Is there a Greek god named Shoulder? I don't get it, dog, because to me, that was just the name of it. I didn't know there was a whole fucking story behind it. And so I come here to tell Luis Cortez Jr., dog, having this conversation with my buddy, I'm like, so do you know about, like, I said Achilles. You're like, yeah. And you're like, that's why they call. So you proved Covino's point, and you proved my buddy Luis's point that kind of, because you did follow it up with, you loved that shit. So can you go ahead and kind of, I'll give you the mic. I'll turn it to you.
let me get the conch. But yeah, bro, like Covino said, I learned it at school, and like I thought that's probably like the one shit I actually did pay attention to. And I don't even know how or why I got into it, but like I remember they tested us on like all the Greek gods, the mythology, and the creatures, and all that shit. So it was always a big thing for me. So when all those movies come out, bro, I used to go watch those shits. I mean, I fucking would back then. I Wikipedia that shit, Google that shit. Now, I mean, I just look up all the movies and stuff. But yeah, it's would have been one of my big things. Even like Ask the Gods, and a lot of my tattoos are kind of related to that too. So really, it's all related to like Big Steve. It's all like ancient alien shit, right? It all comes from back from. There's some crazy shit going on there. If you think about it, Joe Rogan always has a bunch of people on his show that are talking about a lot of the same things, right? But it's been one of my things, bro. But it's because I'm not stupid, bro. So I, mean, I actually paid attention.
Well, and that's the thing, dog, is that I don't remember in school like ever being tested on this or ever having to read on this, or I don't remember. And I'm apparently they teach you about this in school, but I didn't. Dog, maybe I missed that month or something, because I have like literally I don't know. I didn't know any of this shit, dog. Like any of this shit. And dog, so when I was talking to my buddy Luis, he was like, dude, he's like, so like think about like he brought up Troy. And I was like, I know Troy, dog. I'm like, Brad Pitt played him in a movie. And he's like, no, he played Achilles. And I'm like, all right, dog, is this a different actor I'm thinking about? Has long blonde hair on the cover of a movie and it says Troy. He's like, no, that is Brad Pitt, but he's playing Achilles. And I'm like, dog, why the heck would they put a dude on the cover of a movie and put the name Troy? That's a dude's name. That's like putting Luis's face on the cover of a movie and putting Alberto. And you're like, no, Luis isn't playing Alberto, dog. He's playing Jose Luis. Oh, he is? Then why does it say Alberto? Oh, because, dog, that was his favorite snack. What do you mean that was? Then why didn't they put, Jose Luis's favorite snack? Alberto. Like, like why do they gotta put a dude with the name under it, like that's his name, and then that's not, he's like, no, dude, it's about like the city of Troy. I'm like, there's a city named Troy? Is this like in the biblical times, or can I still hop on a plane right now and go to Troy? I don't know. So that's just kind of where I wanted to start off today, Luis. Have you watched the Odyssey? I guess is my next question.
I haven't, and much like Covino, and I think Spot were saying, there's only like 2 theaters in Vegas, maybe 3 that actually have the 70 millimeter fucking screens here, the IMAX screens. And I feel like I need to do it justice and go watch it. And I went, and bro, their fucking tickets are crazy, and not only that, but like they're sold out, or they're only, so you got to go through like a matinee show or whatever. So I'm gonna wait. My brother was like, let's go, and I'm like, I'm down, but like I'll just wait a week or something, because they're all sold out, or you got to go to a shitty time just because, like, especially to watch it in that 70 mil IMAX. They have them showing at regular theaters and shit. I thought about it. I'm like, nah, I think the boys were talking about, like, you have to do it justice and watch it in the big screen, because I think Mauser or somebody was saying, like, oh, that sounds like a good movie to watch on your phone. I'm like, cannot watch. I wouldn't be able to. I'd be so, like, how are you going to watch that on your phone, bro? Like, you need to see the whole enchilada. So I'm waiting. I'll probably watch it next week.
Well, see, I could see not watching it on your phone, but if it's in the movie theater, is 70 millimeter or whatever going to be that much better than 120 millimeter or whatever, however many millimeters they use in the normal theater? I don't know. Like, I did hear Spot say, well, you have to watch it like that because you get to see more of the shot, and that's how they intended it. But I'm like, dog, so I get to see like 3 horses running on the corner that I wouldn't have seen otherwise? Isn't it the same movie? Like I don't know. I guess because I'm not like Spot, dog. I'm not a cinephile. What up, Juice? And let us know, Juice, in the chat, how familiar are you with Achilles and the Trojan Horse and the Odyssey, dog? Because I'm pretty sure me and Rich Davis are the 2 dumbest people on earth, because I don't know anything. Yeah, dog, I guess you're gonna wait. What are you gonna do, dog, if you wait too long and then the 70 millimeter shit goes out of theaters and then you have to freaking watch it at your pad? Then you really lose out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it'll burn out that fast, but I think it was like 50, almost $60 for a ticket compared to like, I don't know, what is it, 20, $25 for a regular one. Maybe that's some Vegas shit, but that's what it was. So, I mean, not that I'm fucking short on dough, but it was I'm not gonna pay all that money and go sit in a shitty seat. Because that's the other thing, like, you have to pick your seat now. So even the seats that they were like too close, or the ones on the side where you're gonna pay all that money and still have a shit seat and watch it during like the day, which I'm like, I'm not about watching fucking movies during the day. So.
Doug, I look at Juice's backing everybody up. Juice said, I watched it on IMAX. But the one thing is, I'll say there's some scenes that are pretty loud that my Apple Watch even went off with the loud noises. Doug, and then he says, that was my favorite book I read in high school. Doug, how were all of you dudes into this? And I don't even remember learning about it. Like, Doug, like my buddy Luis, he was like all into this shit, right? Doug, he was like my best friend in high school. How did I not know? Was he reading it in secret, Doug? Were we like talking about bitches? And then he was like, ha ha ha. And then he would read off to the side. Like, was he keeping this shit on the DL, Doug? Like I can't picture. Like, Doug, today you got your outfit, you got all your tats and everything, Doug. You look cool as hell. And then I'm like, were you like, ha ha, hell yeah, Pantera? And then you're reading about fucking the Odyssey, like when your homies weren't looking, or what? You're like, look at them cheeks over there. And when your friends would look, you would just read a couple pages real quick. Is that how you guys did this? I want to know, because apparently, dog, I did not find any interest in this shit. It was old as shit. I didn't give a heck. Funky Monkey's here. Funky Monkey, did you know about the Odyssey, the Trojan Horse, all of that? Let us know in the chat. It might be because in 2 weeks, the new Spider-Man movie comes out. I don't know what that means. Maybe you could fill me in.
If it's still going to be in theater. Well, if it's still going to be, I think he was answering a question about it. It's going to be in theaters in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
At least in IMAX.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know if I'll catch that Spider-Man movie. I might be busy that day. But I don't know. I'm so like, is perplexed the word? Funky Monkey says she sure did. Dog, apparently me and Rich Davis, dog, were the two dumbest dudes in the history of life, dog. Because everybody I've polled, dog, like when I was talking to my sister, and we were at Barnes & Noble, and actually, you know what? This is actually how I think it got started before even the Odyssey talk. We were at Barnes & Noble, and my sister mentioned Anne Frank, and at first I thought she was black, and then my sister was like, brother, like, are you a fucking moron? And I was like, no, it just sounds like a black name to me, like Anne Frank. It just sounds like Anne Frank, LaQuisha, and Lynette, right? My three homies, Anne Frank, right? And then so my sister's like looking at me, like shaking her head. So then she picks up a book about Anne Frank and she flips it over, and there's some little viejita on there, right? Some little old lady. And I was like, is that Anne Frank? And my sister goes, no, it says my friend Anne Frank. This is like a book about her homie that talks about Anne Frank. And I was like, oh. So then I Googled Anne Frank, and it said she died at 16. And I was like, okay, so that's not her on the book. So, Doug, so my knowledge about Anne Frank was this little black girl, right? Because I'm thinking Jews, right? I'm thinking Hitler, right? Didn't Hitler only want like the blue-eyed, blonde-haired, right? Perfect, right? Like, so in my mind, Hitler doesn't like black people or Mexicans or whatever. So Anne Frank has to be black, right? If she's captured in this room or attic or basement or somewhere in the house where she writes this journal, I figured she wrote this, and eventually when they rescued her or some shit, and in her old age, she submits this to publishers and they tell her story. I didn't know. Apparently, dog, she dies in the end, right? Did she write it? Yeah. Okay, well, I think, dog, just so I could have a basic understanding of life, I need to watch a couple of movies, the Anne Frank biography, Amelia Earhart, right? The lady that didn't have no arms or legs or whatever she was. those people that the deaf and blind lady, all of them. So I'm gonna get a history lesson on all these people, dog. And come back the next time I see you guys. I will be that much smarter. I will be like all of you that are watching the after show. I will be like Luis Cortez Jr. I will be like Luis, my homie, and Funky Monkey, Juice. All of you people that are just so much smarter than me. So, see, well, you guys, you know what I think it was, dog? While you guys were doing this, I was over here learning the dance to a Backstreet Boy song. So, yeah, right. And that's the wrong band. But see, that's why, because you have actual knowledge, right? I'm going to correct you, say that was in sync, but I mean, whatever. Sorry. But I mean,
that's your department.
Because you had actual knowledge of like smart shit, right? I don't know, dog. It's just that I don't know. You know what though, dog? I think my dad was into all that crap, and I think maybe because I was like, nah, that's old people shit. Like the show Frasier and Seinfeld. I now love Seinfeld, but it's because I'm old now. But back in the day, Seinfeld was old white people shit. Frasier was old white people shit, and all this bullshit was about the Greeks and shit was all old people shit too. Turns out it wasn't old people shit. I'm just fucking stupid. So me and Rich Davis, I know we talk a lot of shit on here, Rich, but more power to you, my buddy. My heart goes out to you, right? So yeah. Now I guess some more Covino and Rich stuff, Luis. How are you doing?
Good, man. What did you? I'm sure. Did you happen to watch the Fonz interview? What'd you think? That was for last show, right?
Yeah. It was. It was. Andrew Sims is here. Andrew again. I've been asking people to leave in the comments. Let us know if you knew about the Trojan Horse, Odyssey, Achilles, and Trojan and all that. Or Troy. To wrap it all up, Luis knows about it, and I'm Rich Davis.
Because we paid attention in English.
Didn't you have to
listen to Rich Davis. This is me asking Luis.
How do you know about Greek culture so much?
How do you know about Greek culture so much? So anyway, you asked about the Fonz. I love Henry, and if we're gonna be a hundo on here, I think it went a little long. But that's just one man's opinion. The dumbest dude on earth's opinion. So I like Henry though. Andrew knew about all of that too. So far, I'm 1 out of 84 people I've polled. But I do like Henry. He has a way about telling his stories and kind of, you know what, Doug? Somebody like me, very loud, very, very, right? People don't want to listen. People end up, hey, shut up. Somebody like Henry, when he's telling the story, and he's telling you, Covino, what you need to do with your daughter. And when he's talking like that, very calm, very, 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 very timid, you wanna listen because you're like, wait, whatever he's saying might be important. So yeah, but how did you feel? I feel like you enjoyed the conversation.
I think it was maybe like a special occasion, or you couldn't cut him off. Like you're not gonna like time that fool. Usually I guess the other interviews we're used to, like the boy said, it's usually like, hey, you got 10 minutes to go to commercial and the guy's gone or the person's gone. I thought it was chill. My dad happened to be here, my dad, and I was like, hey, check it out. Because obviously my dad's old school and he used to love the Happy Days, whatever. So even my dad sat down and like, who are these foods? And like, why is he on this show? So I'm like, oh yeah, these are the foods that I do the show. I had to like kind of connect the dots for him, but it was cool. I mean, was it long? It was probably about like an hour, no?
I think it was like an hour and a half. It was long. But I mean, I'm sure for Rich, it had to be so freaking cool because, dog, like everybody grew up, whether you watched Happy Days when it came out or you watched it on Nick at Night or reruns or TV Land or whatever, everybody knows Fonzie, dog. So could you imagine like having him in your pad, like at your house, in your kitchen, eating your grapes? Like, dog, that had to be mind blowing for Rich.
It was old school too, bro. I guess I knew how old he was, but I mean, it's kind of like a national treasure, I guess, bro. The fact that he's still around and everything he's done from all the. It's funny because like when they were talking about like Happy Gilmore and all these, I'm like, yo, this and Waterboy, I'm like, yo, that is that fool. Like, I guess I just knew him, but I didn't really connect all the dots, and that was crazy. I'm like, yo, this fool has been in a lot of movies. that were on Happy Days, and even on Scream, that when they made that Scream connection, like, oh fuck, he is the principal and all that. So I thought it was cool, bro. I thought it was funny how we had a cobija, like, bro,
Yeah.
hot as dick, and you have a cobija over here.
You know what's funny though, dog, is that you have to remember that Henry is in his 80s, right? So I think about my nana, dog. She's 88. And no matter where she is, she has her little blanket, right, that she puts over her lap because she's always cold, right? Just this past weekend, dog, it was my brother-in-law's birthday. And my nana shows up, and my mom was like, she's like, go to the car. She's like, go get a blanket for Nana. So I had to go to the car, go get a blanket for Nana because she was cold like Henry Winkler, you know? But it's funny though, dog, because I think of Henry Winkler like everybody, right? And I think Fonzie. But when you brought up like Waterboy, you brought up Scream, dog, Waterboy to me, even though I haven't seen it in years, still one of my favorite movies like ever. It's so dumb. It caught me at the perfect time. I was probably like 13 when it came out, 12 or 13. So I love the hell out of it. So so many iconic roles that he has had. And it was funny because when they asked him, like, when did you know you had it? And when he said 11 years ago, originally I thought he was joking because they moved to LA 11 years ago. So I thought he was kind of connecting it and making a joke. But then he was like, no, seriously. He was like, when I was talking to my therapist and, he was blah, 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 blah. So it's crazy, dog, to think of like somebody who, for dog, the 70s were 50 years ago, right? So you think of Fonzie, he was Fonzie 50 years ago. And for all these years, he still like didn't really think like he had made it or whatever. Like, that's crazy. And I guess that's why he is so successful, because he's not one of these people that, are what do they call it? A flash in the pan or whatever, where they're here for a second and then they're super huge and they go away. He has probably been spending his whole life trying to quote unquote make it. So, I mean, I thought that was cool. Coach Klein and the Water Boy.
Good. We'll see who else they bring in as I guess, guest or whatever.
Jeff Dye looks like he might be next.
Yep, I heard him talk about that today. And then I had a couple of things that I wanted to talk about that connect the show too. But they were talking about Lilo and Stitch, or what are Covino's cousins at his house?
Oh,
Milo
yeah.
and Gilo.
Coco and Rafael or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But it was funny because, like, I think some of it, like, culturally, they were asking about, like, I think Rich was like, yo, do you stay at a hotel or, like, we're friends and family? Like, and I think it just depends on like the connection you got. Like, bro, when I go to Cali all the time, like, I got all kinds of friends and family. There's certain foods I just won't stay with because I'm like, they got kids or what, I just feel like I don't want to impede and shit. But there's like my aunts and my close homie who has kids. I watched those kids grow up. I helped them raise them. Like, I feel at home right there, bro. And
yeah,
so
sure.
Like, he gets butthurt if I don't go. Be like, bro, what the fuck? My house not good enough for you? You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I feel like hella comfortable there. Like, I have like a whole fucking closet there. Like, I go there every time I go to Charger games. I go to his house. So like, he helps me out, and I try to help out with what I can. So I'm like, especially if it's just me, bro. Like, hey, what the fuck does that matter, bro? I'll sleep on the couch. You know what I mean? I don't care. I mean, they have a bed for me and all that. Pull out. But I think if I was like, when I had a girlfriend and I took her there, like, yeah, like, hey, like, let me get a spot, you know what I mean? Just more for her, you know what I mean? So she had her own privacy or whatever, because I don't give a fuck. That's kind of like my house. But I do know, like, in the Mexican culture, at least where I'm from, or was like, you got to go to their house, bro. I mean, we used to sleep at my grandma's stack, bro, like couches, floor, like pull out the fucking blankets and everyone, like Rich said, like, that's part of the feng shui and the party, bro. Like the shit that happens, like, after the people leave and like everyone, the lights are coming down.
After the guests leave, right? After the guests leave.
Yeah. Like, you start to get the people start with the pedals and like throwing, the more the run shit, more like the close-knit stuff. So, but what about you? How do you live that style?
You know what? I think you nailed it though, especially on the how close you are with certain people. Like my buddy Luis, right? He lives a few hours away, and if I go kick it, go watch some UFC with him, or spend the weekend or whatever. I don't even think about getting a hotel, right? To me, that's just my home away from home. And it's just like, I think it really depends. Like, I don't know, because somebody like that, who's basically like family, like you said, like you helped raise their kids. Like, I get there, like his daughter's like, what's up? His dog's like, you know, right? It's just like, it's cool. That's like literally like my home. Like I'll get there, dog. I'm in my calzones, you know, like if his daughter's not there, but whatever, you know? And but it's just like, I'm so comfortable there. But like you mentioned, like if I am going to come with my wife, my daughter, right? And I have a whole clan with me, then we'll probably get a hotel, you know, like, especially like we did stay with Luis one time when we were up for a pageant, and we had stayed like one night with him, and it was me, my daughter, and my wife. And, we stayed like one night just from night to morning, and then we booked it or whatever. But other than that, if we're going somewhere, Doug, like I have some pretty good friends, even like in Phoenix and different areas close by, that I still would probably get a hotel. So, that's, you know, it does vary a little bit. Like you mentioned, if they're single, right, if they don't have any kids or whatever, or, if I'm coming over and it's just me, that's different. So I think there's so many variables. But I would be miserable, staying at someone's house for a month. Yeah. I think that was another thing that we didn't talk about, is that they were there for an entire month, but,
it's a long ass time, bro. Like, I mean,
a month,
a weekend, overnight, you know,
a week,
roughneck it out. You know what I mean? And eventually, because like you're probably on vacation or whatever the fuck you're doing. Like they were here for the game. People gotta go to work, fool. Then they're like, hey, like here's a key to the pad. Like then I at that point too. Like I've stayed there like during the week with my homie, and I'm like, well, like I don't want to fucking touch it. Like, bro, that's like my house too. Like I know everything's at, but still, like, hey, fool, I'm in someone else's pad and like nobody's there and shit. Like I just feel like a little bit out of place. But a month, yeah. I'm with Andrew, bro. That's a little much. But even a hotel for a fucking month is a long time. Well, that shit gets kind of like, well, like you're in a jail cell almost, probably.
You know what? So my wife has a couple of coaches that will stay with us from time to time, and one coach, Christian, he'll stay here for months on end, literally like 3 or 4 months. But it's a little different because he'll stay here, but he's working with my wife because he coaches and he kind of travels, right? So if he's working for my wife for a few months, he'll stay here, and you know, they literally go to work every day together, and then kind of like it's more. I think he's like my black cousin. You know what I'm saying? Because like he's more family than just like a friend coming over or whatever, and will like literally be like, I'll tell him like to take my car or whatever, like if he's gonna bounce or whatever, and or like even so El Centro, California is like 45 minutes away from me. He was gonna go, I think, fly out of there or catch a bus to the airport or some shit. I don't know, but he was just here like a few weeks ago, and he was here for like maybe like 2 weeks. And then so I took him to drop him off at the bus station in El Centro. And so that's like, what, an hour and a half out of my way because I had to take him and then come back. But it's kind of like at that point, it's almost like family. So it's a little different for somebody like that. But that's somebody that I have had stay with me for months on end. And at that point, dog, if you had any kind of like, if you were a certain way, after a few weeks, dog, you end up letting your wells hang out of your chonies. You just gotta, you can't fake it for that long. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think Steve and Hortensia might have been right there, Big Steve, right? Where they were about to just be like, man, I can't take this shit anymore. Or just say, you know what? You're going to have to see my ass, you know? Because I ain't going to be covering it just because you're here, you know? So I feel like they were right. That month, dog, is right at that point where things start to change.
Yeah, I think I know Covino's always listening and he supports us. So what's up? But I heard Rich was talking shit and making fun of us the other day. So I know he's listening. Obviously, he was making fun of us, AKU, and not being muted the last show. And then that's funny how I love when he does his Vatos impersonation of you and me, and I think it's hilarious. But I also think Spot listens too, because remember I asked you what you thought about the show. You're like, oh, I think it's cool, but I think Spot needs to switch the cameras. You know, more of the single cameras and kind of bounce around. And I've been seeing a lot of that shit now.
I have too.
I don't know if you talked about it on the chat or I know we talked about it here. So either he's listening here or, you know, obviously he might have thought of that himself, whatever. But did you notice that too? I
did notice, but I don't think I mentioned it on the chat. One, let me see if this is the right clip of Rich actually doing his impression of us.
Like Daniel Javier Fitz, I'm calling him out just for fun. I did watch the after show a bit later. I'm supporting you. I watched a little bit last night. What's up, bro? Guy started his show, fucked up, started again. Who does that?
That's the beauty of the after show. It's not an official after show.
Yeah, those two fools last night.
It's an after show, but later.
Okay, I watched first 10 minutes. I watched maybe about 15, 20,
really?
right? He's like, yo, like, so Luis, like, you got a good weekend. Tell me about it, fool.
Yeah.
Oh, like,
He's like, yo, we're going to start the after show. Oh, wait, psych. We got to do it again later.
yo, Daniel, you're on mute, you fool. Oh, sorry. Let me start it again.
Yo, by the way, I know I'm sounding like a douche. I think that we also give too much credit. Like,
Let me finish talking about Daniel Javier Fitz.
I thought you were done.
Oh, no,
Sorry.
I wasn't just calling him out. I'm just making fun of someone. Daniel Javier Fitz would say,
So there was our little shout from Rich. So thank you, Rich, for checking it out. Hopefully you checked it out today because we didn't even mess up today, dog. It was just straight up. We had the little intro screen going. We came over here, boom, 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 boom. And but I did have Rich in the back of my head being like, he had to start over. And I was just like, man, Rich, if there's any time Rich is ever going to check it out, the time he checks it out, dog, we have to start over. I was just like, duh. He's probably like bunk ass show, these Mexicans, you know?
And the other thing that was funny that, and once again, just more of my culture was they were talking about like, well, Rich was talking about specifically like, hey, how long do you think you'll support Melody kind of shit? Like, you know, you have kids, I don't have kids, but I know in my house, bro, I mean, I knew since I was old enough to know my dad's like, cuando tenga 18 años, cabrón, like, te sales, like, you do whatever, like, I got my job to raise you to 18, bro, like, after that, you're on your fucking own, bro, like, I don't care, I don't know, and shit, and that's how it was for him, and that's kind of how it was for me, and it wasn't like he just kicked me to the curb or whatever, but he's like, if you go to school, I'll support you, if you're not, then get a fucking job, you know what I mean, and that's how it really was, and I didn't mind that, I don't think it's, like, tough love, it was like, bro, they were barely kind of taking care of all of us, and now like able willing body, like, hey, it's your turn to chip in. At least cover your own ass, motherfucker, and or you know what I mean, like help us out.
Did they kick you out of the house at 18, or were they? You could stay there, but you're.
Yeah, it was like basically, okay, like you're gonna stay here, chip in. I already was, you know, whatever I could, but at that point it was like that's kind of why we ended up moving from Cali. You know, it was just getting too expensive for us. But it was like, hey, so. But I know you have a daughter. I don't know if you thought that far along, but I know it's different in every family. I know that's kind of the Mexican style, like, no, the fuck out. You know what I mean? But what's your ideas? What's your thoughts?
It was like, for me, I don't know, because actually, no, dog. I think to this day, my mom will still be like trying to slip me money and shit, right? And I'm like, Mom, I'm like 40, you know? But it's just like, I think just because like after high school, I went straight to college, and it was kind of like, she was kind of like, well, at the time, my dad was alive too, right? So it was just kind of like helping you here and there or whatever. And it wasn't, I think it would have been a different story if I would have not wanted to go to college, gave him a hard time, been a pain in the ass, not wanted to work, or whatever the case is, you know? So they did support me. And I try to support them when I could too, you know? So it was kind of I want to say a back and forth, but it was definitely wasn't you're 18, get out of my house, which I did have those friends that their parents did do that, dog. And I'm not trying to say it was a certain color of people, but they did look like the color of paper. And that was the ones where they were like, I don't care, you're out of here, you're 18, you're on your own. And dog, some of those people got, you know, freaking on like some drugs. Some people some did okay, but I just felt like that was just crazy to me. I was like, don't they love you? You know, because like you said, you're like, hey man, we're trying to make it too. So like, if you help us out, like we'll help you out, whatever. We'll give you a place, you know, to stay, but you kind of whatever. But I feel like just to be like, hey, you're 18, see you later. Like dog, like we grew up with these kids that were adopted. Right, dog. As soon as they turned 18, the parents kicked them out because they were like they weren't getting that check no more for like, you know, for being like foster parents or whatever the hell they were. And I was like, dog, that's some messed up shit. Like, hey, we're not getting the check for you no more. Which, dog, they were good parents to them growing up, but now they're like, hey, the checks are stopping, so have fun. See you later. That to me was always crazy, you know.
It's like a business. I had a homie, like I knew his neighbor did that. Like that was literally like their job, bro. They would like foster kids. They had like 6 or 7, and like when one turned 18, I was like, pick rocks, bro, because we got to get another one, kind of shit. That's how they live. And it wasn't crazy. They ran it like a business, but they did their job. I mean, they take care of the kids.
Well, like I said, like that family too. They raised them good. They were, you know, good parents. Yeah. But it's like, all right, dog, you're 18.
Yeah.
Don't let the door hit you in your ass, you know?
The write-off stuff coming in, homie, is challenge trying to get out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That shit is expensive.
No, dog.
Yo,
real quick. I got a 10-second story. So I remember there's an episode of Boy Meets World, dog, and they're like big. They're already like basically grown. And the dad tells Sean, who's like the troubled kid, like, we'll adopt you. And I remember I was like, wait, aren't they over 18, right? And I asked my mom, and I go, Mom, could you adopt somebody that's over 18? And she looked at me, dog, like I was like I hadn't watched the Odyssey, right? Like I had never read a book in my life, dog. And she looked at me and she goes, adopt somebody that's over 18? She goes, no, that's like me trying to adopt dad. And I was like, okay, fair enough. I'll go play Legos. Oh my goodness, dog. My bad. I interrupted you.
No, you're good. I was gonna say I feel like Rich Davis because I overpromised. So I owe everyone an update. I don't know if I was faded or Gio was faded, but I understood that I was gonna meet his mom Saturday. So I text that fool Saturday morning, like, hey bro, what's up? Like, what's the address? Like, what time, whatever. That fool's like, oh, it's next Saturday, fool. So I don't know if he switched it or what.
So it's this coming Saturday?
So yeah, I get to meet Gio's mother this Saturday. So sorry everybody. I know I promised pictures and all that shit. So
yeah,
I'll have some next Tuesday. I'll have some, and I have to fucking split hairs because I'm gonna go see Stone Temple Pilots that night. So I'm gonna go to this party. It's in like the afternoon. He says like a pool party and shit. So I'm gonna go there, say what's up to that fool, see his mother, and then take some pictures for the gram and shit and all that, and then I'll report back. So sorry everybody, overpromised with Cortez, but I was ready to
hear the stories. Think of the stories. I was ready. I was like, all right, I got to give at least 15, 20 minutes to Luis just to tell us about meeting Gio and his mom, or Gio's mom.
Yo, no, it's funny, just real quick, another thing too. Talking about Fonz and fucking the Black Anne Frank that apparently you fucking think of. The Fonz, they were talking about, all this, they were asking a bunch of questions. And apparently he had beef with Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Or there was some kind of rub there. And obviously he said it was water under the bridge and everything. He's like, oh, I love what he does on World War II. And I'm like, well, what is that shit? So I looked it up. It's on Netflix. That shit's dope, bro. I guess I knew a lot of that shit from school with the Jews and Anne Frank and Hitler obviously being a piece of shit. But I started watching World War II on Netflix with Tom Hanks. Damn, bro, that shit has me sad. That shit has me hooked. I've been like fucking binge watching it, but that shit's sad, bro. It was a piece of shit. But
what is it, like a season or 2 seasons or what?
Nah, it's like fucking 16, 18 episodes. I'm barely like halfway through, but it's basically, from start to beginning, World War II.
From start to beginning? Dang.
Yeah, so like, how the conflict started, and that's why it's like 18, 20. It's fucking sad, bro, when you see some of the, obviously this is not fucking, I'm not breaking that glass. Everyone knows the shit that was going on, but some of the
for
shit
some people, dog, I don't want you to know spoilers, dog. I don't know how it ends.
Like a lot of it is old school raw footage from like, the war shit and a lot of old pictures. And like, bro, I'm talking about like mountains and mountains of like fucking
people,
shoes and people that were getting fucking crispy and all that shit, bro. But there's a couple episodes I just watched. I think it was the day before yesterday of Anne Frank and her story. And they made us read that in school, fool. And I think I talked about that one time. And I think it was high school. There used to be a museum in Cali that they took us, and they had like what it was called, but it's probably still there. It was pretty famous, but it was like, there was a part of the whole museum. They had like pieces of history and shit in there, but they had a part where you'd walk, and it was basically like the entrance to Auschwitz. And they had like two different rows and shit. Were like, here are the people that were getting fucking toasted, and here are the people that were getting into slave camps. And like, it was fucking sad. They make you walk through one side, and like, if you're on this side, like, this is what it looked like, and you're fucking in a chamber. And like, if you're on this side, this is like the kind of work you had to do. So, check it out, bro. Look it up. I mean, a lot of that shit's right there. Get some history.
That is cool. No, seriously, like real talk. Like, I might check it out. That sounds like really cool and interesting and informative.
No, it was. I stopped right before D-Day happened, and I didn't even know some of the shit, I guess, how they were fighting in Africa and Italy and Mussolini and all this shit. Like, I knew about it here and there and shit, so this really kind of connects all the dots. And then Tom Hanks does a good job. Obviously, that was a good hell of a narrator, but that shit hits home, bro. That shit's sad.
And he narrates it.
Yeah,
I thought he was like in it.
No, he's the host, and then like at the beginning, he has a little monologue at the end.
So it's more like a documentary type. Like it's not. I thought it was like a series. That's why I was like, how many seasons or whatever.
And then what was that? I think it was like another fucking book talking about books and shit that you may not know. I think it was called The Animal Farm. Yeah, it was The Animal Farm. Did you ever read that book?
No.
That was cool shit. You were over there doing hood rat shit or fucking practicing your dances. It's about how it's a book about an animal farm, but it relates it to the war and how Stalin and the presidents all got together and shit. So when I was like, oh shit, these are the big three, and that's part of the book where the animal farm, like the pigs are like British and the donkeys are fucking Americans and
the pigs are British?
It relates somehow. I have to research it, but it basically shows like, hey, all the pigs were one army, I think it was donkeys, and then all the horses were one army, and they all got together to fight the pig. It just kind of shows the conflict, but it was a microcosm of the war and the shit that was going on. But another fucking lesson for you. I don't know how you know all this, fool.
Yeah, right. I mean, another thing, dog. Right? I don't know. I don't know, dog. But you know what? Actually, dog. I have Thursday and Friday. I will actually be this week. I will be traveling. I have to hit up Covino because I talked to Spot earlier today. Thursday, I'm gonna stop by and I'm gonna see the Fox Sports Radio. So,
nice.
So what happened was Thursday, my sister and I were gonna go to Burbank because Burbank, they're gonna have Boy Meets World, right? What I was watching when you were learning about Hitler. Boy Meets World, the cast has been doing a rewatch where they've been recapping episodes. They're about to do the last recap of the last episode of the series, and they're going to do it live in Burbank. So we're going to get to do that, check that out that evening. So my sister was like, well, what time is the show and all that? And I was like, we looked it up. And then we're like, how far are they from Fox Sports? So I looked it up, and it's like 15 minutes from each other. So we were like, well, why not hit Fox Sports in the afternoon, go to the hotel, whatever, shower up, get all ready, and then go to the show that evening. So this Thursday, that's what we're going to be doing. So, Spot gave me directions and how to freaking walk through the courtyard and all that shit. So I'm going to hit up Covino, just give him a heads up and let him know that we're going to be coming. So yeah, I can't wait, dog. I'm excited. I've been wanting to see Fox Sports since freaking they were doing it part-time, when they were like in the evenings and shit and filling in. So to see their actual studio now and get to see Danny G. Oh, you know what? I don't know if you want to...
Is it mail time?
It is mail time, actually. I'll give you a few seconds if you want to tell a story for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead. I Googled the fucking... I know you hate that shit, Rich Davis does it, but I did it. So Animal Farm is a satire of the Russian Revolution and the subsequent Stalinist era in the Soviet Union. So yeah, it tells the story of animals who rebel against their human farmers, hoping to create a society of equality, freedom, and happiness. But the pigs led by Napoleon eventually betray the ideals and establish a totalitarian dystopia. So that's what it was. Sorry for those guys who don't know. Sorry for my history lesson. Now you know, fuckers.
All right, so I got a little mail time right now. Covino and Rich always do mail time. Well,
mail time.
I'm excited because I get to hit up Danny G and get to see him, and I with Sam. So Danny G sent me a little care package the other day. He like a couple of Covino and Rich koozies, right? Fox Sports Radio. This one, dog, I'm excited about. I'm gonna have to put this in my office. Covino and Rich little Nerf football, right? So I wanted one of these. The last when they got them, I was like, oh hell yeah, that'd be dope. Little Nerf football, and then Danny G went above and beyond, dog. I gotta thank Danny G for this, because the last thing in the package. Now I know all of you are probably jealous about this one, dog. I'm gonna be grilling this summer, dog, with my Covino and Rich apron.
Let's go.
Look at that. So you can check out Fox Sports Radio, Covino and Rich, 2 to 4 on the West Coast, Monday through Friday. And you guys could win yourself one of these. Little apron to do some grilling. You put your beer in this bad boy right here. And you could, while you're drinking your beer and grilling, throw the football around with your homies, dog. So thank you, Danny G, for that, dog. I'll help him out with some stuff, every now and again. So he was like, he sent me a little thing. He said, thanks for like, the work you do for CNR and the, community and all that, whatever. And I was like, I appreciate it, man. So that was very cool. So go support Danny G, follow Danny G Radio on all social media.
Yeah, man.
Or Danny Gradio. Do you remember that story, dog, where somebody thought his last name was Gradio? Because all of his social media, dog, is Danny G Radio. So somebody thought his name was Danny Gradio. So yeah, go find Donnie Gradio. Make sure you tell Monsi I said hey. Oh yeah, I okay. If she's there, Juice, I'll let her know. I'll be like, Juice said what up. And then let me see.
Don't tell her I said anything.
Andrew Sims said boy bands or Boy Meets World. Boy Meets World. It'll be Boy Meets World. Damn, bro. Pick up a book and put down the damn boy band CDs. Oh, whatever, man. Whatever. I'm gonna quiz you guys on some shit one day that should be common knowledge. Shit.
My shit's in the mail too, fool. So hopefully I get mine for next week. That fool hit me up like, yo, I forgot your address, fool.
Oh, really?
Address.
Oh, yeah, Doug. So hopefully you can do show and tell next week. Danny G, always hooking us up. So that's always nice, dog. Yeah, I remember one time he sent me a water bottle. It was the black one. It was freaking dope. I don't know. I think I gave it away. But yeah, Doug, I feel like there was more that I had to get to. We have about 10 minutes left. Is there anything else that you want to get to? If not, I will go ahead and see if I can find my notes.
I got a quick fire one. So
cool.
We got an update with Covino's Primo. I know we talked about it.
Oh,
yeah. We all said some prayers up for us. So prayers up for that fool. I think that was last week? Or was that yesterday? So it sounds like he was going to get an organ that he needed. So I know we were all, obviously concerned. So hopefully that works out for them. Prayers up to that fool. And then, did you hear fucking Sarah? I listened on replay today because I drove to Arizona, so I didn't have a chance to watch.
Yeah.
But I did listen on replay. But fucking, I heard Sarah come in and was ripping fucking Rich a new one and shit. She sounded like she was mad as fuck. Did you catch that?
I don't think I did. You know what though? I mean, I've been in and out this week. It's been crazy. I told you at work I was stressed as hell. So I missed it. Andrew Sims real quick asked, what's your favorite between the two, boy bands or Boy Meets World? I don't know, Doug. They both hold such a place in my heart. Then Juice says DJF first quiz is gonna be, what was the first album from 98 Degrees? All right. Well, I don't know, 98 Degrees and Rising, right? I mean, whatever. Come on, Doc. Hit me with a harder one. But anyway, she was pissed. What is he referring to right there?
Sarah, right? Because I don't.
Oh yeah.
It was
actually
cheerleader. It was the cheerleader topic.
Yeah.
Rich was saying like, you know what I'm talking about now?
Yeah, I do. Okay, I had a brain fart, but you know what's funny though, dog, is that I know Rich does it like de mas to like piss her off, but it was funny.
He wasn't fucking around because he did the Rich Davis shit that we said last week. He meant that shit. Well, give us a story, bro. And then
so if you guys missed it, I thought I missed it, but now I remember now. Rich was talking about, because Melody is going to most likely be the cheerleading captain, right? And going into her junior year of high school, being the captain of the varsity team. And then Rich was kind of like, well, of course, she's pretty and she's athletic. And then that's kind of where it started.
Yeah.
And then Sarah came in, and being a former cheerleader, she was so pissed because she was like, if you don't have your standing back tuck, you're not going to make it. And Rich is like, yeah, you need your standing back tuck and you need to be hot. and it was just, I was like, it was such a Rich Davis moment, dog, where like, I was like, I feel like everybody's right in that one, dog. Either everybody's right or everybody's wrong, because Sarah is right, dog, where you got to have your standing back tuck, right? Can you do an aerial, right? That's more dance than cheer. But I don't know, dog, if you're going to do, let me see, like you got to have these skills, right? But most of the time they're attractive, right? But you know what? One thing where I will kind of side with Sarah on is if there's like a super hot chick and there's a mediocre looking chick that can do all the skills, they're going to take the mediocre looking one, dog, because usually when they're performing anyway, dog, they have the whole RuPaul getup with makeup and hair. So they can usually hide a lot of the ugly if they need to. So dog, so by the time everybody has the big hair pieces and the freaking makeup and everything, dog, then you can do a lot with makeup these days. You can't really fake a skill, right? If they're trying to do their standing back tuck or whatever. So like Andrew Sim says, they both did have good points. I agree. I think that's why I said either everybody was right or everybody was wrong, because there's not, I mean, even if you look at like freaking Netflix Cheer, or you look at the America Sweethearts, you check out all this, there's nobody on there, and they're not even like super attractive, right? Like even America Sweethearts, they're all pretty enough in like the traditional sense, but there's nobody on the team where you're like, ugh, that bitch is ugly. Not one, right? Not one. And so like I agree with Rich on that part. But I also agree with Sarah, being that, like Covino mentioned, these girls, if you watched America Sweethearts, are the top of the game. And the thing is, when you get to a certain level, everybody is beautiful. Everybody has skills. Everybody. So, Doug, so it's like boom, 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 boom. It's not really going to be like, oh, this girl was hotter, so we're going to give it to her, because everybody's pretty comparable hotness. And the skills are pretty comparable. So it's just like the little bit you can edge out, dog. Like, I don't know. I thought it was a good conversation. They have skills, but I haven't seen too many ugly cheerleaders. Cause I'm telling you, Andrew, it's all the makeup. You know, I mean, I've seen, I'm going to move on.
I just thought it was funny how she was just fucking drilling him. Her biggest holdup, which, you know, she was like, look, they don't fucking rate you on the point sheet or whatever. There's no like, oh, she's hot, 5-10 points, right? They rate you on skill, choreography, all that shit. Doesn't matter how you look, possibly. Do they rate you on that? No. But he was making a point saying that, and then I like how he threw in like, oh, boy, you have to have a couple of tortas in there. Someone needs to be at the bottom of the pyramid. And I mean, I thought it was funny. And then she was actually obviously probably pretty pissed, and then he was fucking laughing, and she was like getting really excited, like, you know, obviously more upset about it.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I'm joking. I don't think he was fucking around. I think he was serious. He was doing that shit where he was joking, you know, and trying to back in, tiptoe out of it. And then she's like, and then he started, you know, they started talking about how Ben's a cock block, and she's like, yeah, you're definitely not getting any now. I thought that was funny. I'm like, bro, you're fucking that all up. But
well, Doug,
it was typical Rich Davis.
I don't know if you caught Fox Sports Radio today, but
No, I didn't.
Well, Rich had said that Jeff Dye, did he say, I don't know if he said this on Patreon. I think it was on Fox Sports Radio, but Rich had said that Jeff Dye, I think he told it on both. Anyway, Jeff Dye needed somebody to play softball, so Rich ended up, you know, going and playing with him. And he said it was a co-ed team. So Rich was like, we had to show them how to bat and how to this and that. And I was like, well, no wonder Rich was all worked up. There was all these chicks he was probably standing behind. No, you got to hold the bat like this, you know? And he was like, then he probably went home and was like, oh, Sarah, let's go, you know? Because, dog, if he was like all like these chicks, he said some of them didn't know how to catch, didn't know how to bat, didn't know how to whatever. Dog, you know, he's like when you stand behind like a golf chick, right? And you're like, okay, what you got to do is
the pool, you know,
you got to hold your hips, right? Exactly, right? Yeah. So I imagine, probably not what happened, right? So, but in my mind, Rich Davis was like, okay, so you got to hold the bat like this, putting his hands over their hands, right? And then he got home and he's like, oh my goodness, Sarah, we got to do this, you know? And then she was like, no, because Ben's like, my tooth is under your pillow, you know? So I don't know, man. Him having a daughter, he shouldn't joke like that, says Juice. You know what, though? I don't think he was joking, to be honest, Juice. I don't I think he was dead serious, which is kind of somewhat alarming, even though I think he did have some good points. But I just hope he doesn't say shit like that to Emmy or in front of Emmy or whatever, you know? But yeah, man, I'm trying to think of if there's anything else crazy. Let me see. They had Fonzie on. They had, they're going to be welcoming more guests. You know what? One thing that I liked about them having Fonzie on, or Henry Winkler, is that I thought it was going to be way more awkward having them two in like the room and then having the guests like in a different area. I thought it was going to be, they're all in the same room, but just like the way the dynamics are, the way the room is laid out, I thought it was going to be a lot more awkward, but it still seemed very personal. I think just having them all in the same room seemed like they connected very well. So I thought that was really cool. So I do look forward to more guests that they have. Funky Monkey says, maybe that's when he went home and she turned him down. And yeah, could have been, right? I don't know, but yeah, let me see if there's anything that I missed. Where are we at? Doug, I don't know how we freaking didn't talk about this. The name of the episode is My Bearded Friend Says Hello. Did you catch that today?
Yeah, that shit was funny.
Oh my! If you missed Patreon today or you're not on Patreon, Covino had my favorite story of the year. So this is what we'll wrap up on. I guess whenever they go get the mail, there's some girls that work there that they flirt with Spot, right? But he is still not that mobile, working from home. So Covino is like, I'm going to go be mail dude, right? I'm going to go pick up the mail, whatever. And I guess when he got in there to pick up the mail, he was like, yeah, Covino, whatever, here to pick up my mail. And he wanted to say, hey, like, Christian says hi. But he said, my bearded friend says hello. Is that what he said? Something like that?
Yeah.
And he said that they looked at him kind of weird because he was like, damn it. After I said that, it sounded kind of perverted. Like, my bearded friend says hello. And, Doug, I wish I could have pulled that for right now, because the way Covino said it, Doug, you just know the second it came out of his mouth, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, right? He said it, and it's just like, oh, damn. And then he said they all kind of giggled and smirked like, Doug, it's so funny. And what gives me anxiety in life, Doug, is that I know something like that is going to happen, even though we try to be careful every day in our life, right? There's going to be a time where I say something dumb like that or whatever, or a joke doesn't land or whatever, dog, and you're just going to feel so freaking dumb. And we can't prevent it. It's going to happen regardless. If you talk, and as much as we talk every week, you're going to say something and you're going to sound like a moron at least once, after this conversation. And all of you in the chat too. So all of you guys that are thinking that, haha, we laugh at Covino, just remember, one day you're going to say something and you're going to be like, I'll eat your sushi. Oh, crap, right? So it's going to happen. So that's all I have for today.
Yeah, it was funny because it was like an innuendo. Like, it sounded like he was talking about his bush in a way, right? It also sounded like what the fuck, you thought you got a bearded dragon, or what's going on here? You're telling me about your fucking lizard. And I think what was like the icing on the cake on that was that Spot ended up going like right after fucking Covino, like this right after almost. So it was fucking hilarious. But he was just making fun of himself because he's been on a roll, fucking lame jokes. That one. And when he ran into Kristen,
I just love how vulnerable they get with us sometimes, right? Because, dog, that's embarrassing. Nobody wants to relive it. After it happens, you want it to be over. And so I appreciate him sharing that with us, and Rich putting himself out there and arguing with Sarah, and Sarah for not killing Rich, right? Just thank you guys all, and thank you guys for joining us live, and all you future people. I'm gonna have to get this episode, because Fournier is not here, I'm gonna have to get this up on Spotify so he can check it out after show. But later, episode number 348. Remember, if you have anything, you can hit us up on any social media at AfterShowBL across all social media, or you can text us 928-235-5285 if you want something for us to talk about next time, or you want to send us a screen record or a timestamp and we'll talk about that. Remember, always you can hit us up. If you have my personal number, hit me up on that too. And yeah, we will see you guys in episode number 349. Your boys D, Luis Cortez Jr. We will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
On the road to the riches, cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music ease your soul, grab a spliff and start burning. Relax with us and take a trip to the heavens and come